Welcome everybody to Stock Dirty to Me, the Wednesday edition, a very special edition here we have on the show. Welcome. So I am Phil Better, the podcast mogul. We have Tony, the stock bro, podcast legend himself, Lloyd Ross, money millionaire investor, and Dalt, the advisor over at Bunting Corp Capital, who will at some point fuzz into the screen. I don't know what's going on there. But we have a few things that we want to talk about today's show. We are going to start with Tony's favorite topic, Operation Phoenix, and the love he has for that. Before Tony jumps in, I want to get through the rest of our meeting points, and then I'll let Tony take away Operation Phoenix. He's so excited to talk to you about that. Guys, we're going to talk about Elon Musk versus Anonymous, what's going on there, and how that's going to affect the market, could affect your crypto, and which leads us into a little review from Lloyd, the money mentor. He's going to talk a bit about Bitcoin and a recent email blast. If you're not on his email list, make sure you get on that. He's going to give us a little update on some of the craziness that Bitcoin has done in the past and will it be able to continue. Then we're going to do a manipulation coming out of Wall Street Bets. Dalton had some stuff to talk about that. So we're going to get that at the end. But first, let's go to Tony. And Tony, what is this Operation Phoenix that you're so excited to bring up to the table?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to jump in and interrupt me at any time, please feel free. I'd like to get Lloyd and Dalt's take on this, and Phil too, of course. So Operation Phoenix. To me, I saw this article, and I laughed. As I was reading it, I was laughing. And, I read it again, I laughed a little bit again, and I was like, all right, this can't possibly be meaningful or really have anything to do with helping the people of Gambia. This is just a publicity stunt. So I looked into Gambia. I couldn't point to it on a map. I had no idea what Gambia was or where it was. So I looked into it, and sure enough, Gambia is the 10th poorest country in the world. It's in Africa. It's the smallest non-island country in Africa. And over 50% of the population does not have electricity, and less than 20% of the population has internet access. So I don't know, I may not be understanding this correctly, but I believe you need electricity, internet, and a smartphone to buy and sell SafeMoon. And you're also going to need some knowledge on how to do that because it's not the easiest thing to do. So I'm wondering if people that are struggling to survive and have no real infrastructure in their country, if their top priority is going to be to put some of their disposable income into SafeMoon. To do what with it, I don't know, because there would need to be some type of infrastructure for people to have SafeMoon to make transactions with it.
Well, isn't SafeMoon going to the moon?
Well, right now it's in Gambia. It's
okay.
Yeah. So from what the article said, it said that they're going to be setting up a shop in Gambia, and they want to democratize. And the key words that a lot of people like to use are democratize finance, right? And they want to decentralize finance. But the thing is, it's all meaningless buzzwords, because you're not going to decentralize or democratize anything in Gambia, because their currency is almost worthless, and nobody's trading Gambian dollars across the world. It's only in Gambia. So
they don't seem to be a powerhouse in the financial world, so it makes sense.
So I'm not sure how adding a volatile currency that's only been around for 3 months is going to help these people when they need food and water and infrastructure and many other things first. Unless SafeMoon is going to go in there and spend hundreds of millions of dollars and build roads, build houses, distribute food and water, provide thousands, maybe tens of thousands of jobs. So I don't know, maybe they're going to start with that first and then work on teaching people what cryptocurrency even is, and then go from there. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to turn it down to Lloyd. He was, but it seemed to be biting on the chomp at some points regarding this. Lloyd, what's your perspective on SafeMoon landing in Gambia?
Well, it's they keep talking about it like it's a project. Like we have this Safe Moon project in Gambia. It's a project. It's just a freaking. They're bored. This is bored. These people are just bored and they got nothing to do. Like, it's a project. It's just gonna die. It's like a bad hobby. It's just. I mean, in the world of finance, it's like a little speck on the radar of important things that we should probably be talking about. Like, but I think most people get caught up in it because it's like what Tony said. It's just hypey and buzzy. Like, oh, if we get on the Safe Moon rocket and it grows by 11,000%, which I think it has, it's a speculation and a gamble, and there's going to be a lot of people lose money. It's going to do nothing for the people of Gambia at all. I don't think they even know that it's there. Like, it's just going to be these folks from Western world trying to jump in, make quick money, and then get out. And a buddy of mine said yesterday, he's a millionaire, he's a multimillionaire. He said, I can't wait for these fast money things to like go because people need to learn to go back to work again. Like I don't know. It's just another example of hitting a top in the frothy market that we're in. And as soon as rates rise, everyone's going to get splattered. And this type of stuff's just going to disappear. Just like Beanie Babies. I don't know if you know about the Beanie Babies.
Yes, Beanie
You know, who has Beanie Babies anymore? Anyone? I think they use them for roof insulation now. It's the only thing that they're useful for. But when the coins disappear, they'll be useful for zero. So it'll just be another Beanie Baby situation. I'm just waiting for it to be finished. This is just a...
Beanie Babies would probably be better for the people.
Probably.
They can use it for insulation.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of, at first I laughed about this, but then it kind of saddens me because they're making a mockery out of this country. They're not going to, like, these people need fucking food and shelter and infrastructure. Like, they don't need a defunct, soon to be defunct
altcoin
cryptocurrency that was just created 3 months ago. Like, that, how is that going to help this country?
Dalt still has his Beanie Baby collection. He's still riding the Beanie Baby high. I'm going to bring Dalt over here. Dalt, what's your take on Operation Phoenix and all this silliness with Gambia and Safe Moon?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, as Lloyd said, when you have record low interest rates, you do get these really, really speculative bubbles. They got Pokemon cards going for almost six figures now if you have a really, really mint first edition Charizard. Again, Safe Moon, a complete foolishness. You couldn't, like, there's a million Safe Moon for every person that's on this planet or something like that. So maybe it's even more. It's bloody ridiculous. It's not going to do anything in Gambia because, again, when people like look at these headlines, I hate to say it, but the majority of people that drive these bubbles just have no clue of life, finance, or savings, or anything whatsoever. So the Gambian Dalisi, or whatever it's called, is not traded on any world market. Like you literally cannot get that currency anywhere outside of Gambia. So if you have a crypto exchange firm, go in there. For one, nobody is taking any clients from Central Africa. But okay, let's assume that they did go in there. They would have to exchange Gambian dollars for Safe Moon somehow. In order for them to get in the market, say they're going to get into Binance coins or whatever, and then pancake swap from Binance coins into Safe Moon, you still got to get the Binance coin first, which means somebody still, Binance, Kraken, whoever it be, has to get in there and get Gambian dollars. But the problem is nobody's going to do that because they're not going to be able to do a damn thing with that currency unless they're going to land in Gambia and exchange it. So what do they do with that currency? So no person in Gambia is really going to have Safe Moon at all unless they give it away for free. But that's a whole other conversation that just nobody thinks about. Everybody just thinks, oh yeah, you can just if you're in Central Africa, just sign up on Kraken or Binance. No, you can't. Nobody is taking that risk. Central and Western Africa are known for a high amount of money laundering and scams. Nobody is getting into that. Nobody has taken on that client base. Safe Moon can talk all they want, but they're not getting behind holding that Gambian currency either. So, will anybody in Gambia ever hold it? I don't think so. Unless they give it away for free. And I guess when you have hundreds and hundreds of trillions of these coins, I guess you will start giving it away for free. to the 19% of the population that actually has internet.
Makes sense.
Can I just add something?
Certainly, always.
A lot of people like to talk about how it's a deflationary coin, and it's going to be great because it's a deflationary coin. Well, what good is a deflationary coin that you can't do anything with? What does it matter if it's deflated? And what does that even mean? It's deflated. What, you're burning coins off to limit the supply, but who cares? There's no demand for this. So what good is having a deflationary coin especially in a country that is already in poverty? So it's just such a ridiculous buzzwords and talking points that people get scammed into believing, and then they pass these talking points around to people to make themselves sound smart, but they don't even understand what it means.
Exactly.
So,
Everyone's just looking for a quick buck. Let's be honest. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's true, and someone's actually taking it into their own hands. The group Anonymous is actually going after Elon Musk. Tony, you brought this up in our chat, how they're going after him for market manipulation, but not just in, what the SEC has gone after him for, but specifically in the crypto world, and pretty much making millions lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars from his crypto tweets. You want to go a little more on that?
So I think it all started when he started his tweets about Dogecoin all the time. He's pumping up Dogecoin to the moon, and then he went on Saturday Night Live and he called it a hustle, and then Dogecoin lost like 30 or 40% of its value after that Saturday Night Live skit, and everybody was expecting it to go up after Saturday Night Live. So I think the market is proactive rather than reactive sometimes, where people were expecting the SNL skit, so there was a lot of buying up until that skit, and then right at that night, people are like, all right, it's
Bex, the pizza.
What's that?
He's not on mute. He muted himself.
Oh. So anyways, the Dogecoin stuff, and then the thing that really pissed people off was when he decided to tweet that Tesla is no longer accepting Bitcoin as a payment because of environmental issues, because it takes too much electricity to mine, which they already knew that. I mean, that was common knowledge. To tell me that he didn't know that ahead of time is ridiculous. I think Tesla realized that, hey, if we keep selling cars with Bitcoin, or we allow Bitcoin purchases, Bitcoin fluctuates so much. We sell a car for 10,000 Bitcoin, that Bitcoin can go down to 5,000, and now we just lost half our value. So it made no sense to begin with, especially something that expensive to buy it with Bitcoin when Bitcoin is fluctuating constantly. So, and then he went out and he tweeted that he sent out all these cryptic tweets saying, like, with a broken heart emoji, saying, oh, sorry, Bitcoin, maybe it's not meant to be. And he insinuated that Tesla got rid of all of their Bitcoin. They got rid of their entire position of Bitcoin. And then that pissed a lot of people off. And it caused Bitcoin to drop 50%. Like, Bitcoin is down huge right now. And that's concerning because they have it's hard to, when you're at $30,000, it's hard to get up to 60,000. It's a big jump to gain 50% value like that. So I don't know. It pissed a lot of people off, and a lot of retail investors are getting tired of his tweets, where every day he's tweeting something and constantly manipulating the market. And he's doing it with stocks too. He's doing it with Etsy. He's been doing it with Tesla stock. He got fined by the SEC and suspended for a year back in 2018, I think. So yeah, that's kind of the background. And then Anonymous went after him, and people are getting tired of his games. At first it was cool and funny, and he's so hip and he's into the trends, and he's on our side, and now he's not on your side anymore. So
Thing is, Elon's an engineer. Like, he's a CEO of Tesla. Obviously he's an entrepreneur, but he's an engineer. He's not an investing dude. He's really clever, but he's no different to Wall Street Bets guy, the main dude, Cat. What's his name?
Well, we have Trey Trader, who's one of the Wall Street Bets people, but yeah, the guy who went in front of Congress.
Yeah,
they were apparently manipulating.
I forget his name. Yeah, and he said, yeah, we love the stock. We love the stock. We love the stock. That was for GME stock, and that he was just giving his idea about what he liked about a stock. Now, you're allowed to do that. That's not a violation. That's not market manipulation. Say, I love the stock. Every time Warren Buffett says, I don't like that stock or I'm selling this, the whole market corrects on that news too, because it's public information. So whenever Elon actually tweets to the public, that's public info. It's not any insider trading. He's not trying to manipulate anything, I don't think. He's just giving his opinion and people listen to it and they correct accordingly. The only reason he got stung by the SEC in 2018 was because he's the chairman of the actual company that he's talking. Like, he's got inside information, so he's got to be a bit careful there. But crypto is unregulated. You can manipulate the shit out of that, and they can't do anything because it's not governed by the stock exchange. There's no pump and dump laws around that. So I think that's why people are just loving it so much, because they can't. No one can really touch them for anything like that. It's so unregulated. But I mean, what's happening with Wall Street bets, and I'm sure that Dalton can touch on this too, but I think that's going to be illegal. Like, I think what's happening there, I know the Kitty guy started to pump it up, but I think now it's pretty obvious that there's groups of people actually going after the short squeezes. Yeah, like they're literally attacking the short positions in stocks. And I think there's a pretty strong case to be won there in terms of SEC regulation. I think that will happen, but I don't think crypto is going to get regulated well. I think it will get regulated. And once it does, the fun's over. The music stops. Everyone turns into pumpkins. And this whole thing just comes to a close. Just like the dot-com bubble in the 1999, 2000. It just got slammed.
Yeah. The thing that's scary about, like what you said, the thing that's scary about crypto is it's down 50%. And you don't know if it's undervalued or overvalued right now. Nobody can value crypto. There's you can't put a price on it. It's unknown. There's no way to and the people that say, oh, I read charts and this and that, it's all nonsense. You can't read charts to predict the future of crypto, so
until it's tied to something, like it's back to being bartering. Like, what is 1 hour of my time worth? What is one Bitcoin worth? Like, what are we going to associate it to? If it's going to decentralize fiat currency, then we still need to connect it. Like, is it going to equal one acorn? Like, is that how we're going to do it? Or 1 hour of my time? Like, how
one dollar?
Phil, have you heard of the great Bitcoin paradox?
No, please enlighten us.
Where it's funny because it's where there's two parts to it. The first one is Bitcoin is measured in the very currency that it's going to replace. That's the paradox. Like, it's being measured in US dollar. It's being measured in fiat. And every time someone sells it, they're going long fiat. So they don't realize, right? And the other part of the paradox is that if the ideologists are like, yeah, it's going to be the main currency, I would pray if I held Bitcoin that it would never become a currency, because if it does, it means all the volatility disappears, no one makes any money, and we actually start using Bitcoin for purchasing coffees. And if that happens, there is zero volatility, there is zero growth, everyone loses all their money because Bitcoin's going to get into like $1, and we're done. And so you got to have one or the other, if you want it. So I don't think it's going to become a currency. I think it's going to stay as this really volatile gold, and I think it's done. The Winklevoss twins are the only ones saying, it's going to go up. They have to do that because they own billions. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
They have to spruik the shit out of it, because if they don't, they're going to get smashed. They say, look, it's probably got 10x left in it, which arguably they could be right, 10x, because it's worth the whole Bitcoin market cap, I think, is about $650 billion. So if they go to 10x it, it's worth $6 trillion, right? Gold, I think, the whole monetary supply of the world at the moment is $40 trillion in fiat, I think, right? And land, I think, is like something relatively similar, 40 trillion roughly. So if you think about that, if Bitcoin goes up by 100x from here, it becomes worth more than all of the fiat currency in the world, the money supply, and all of the land of the earth value. It becomes worth more than that if it goes 100x. So
if I have Bitcoin, I could end up buying the world, is what you're saying.
Well, if it goes 100x, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it economically, how can it go 100x from here? Maybe 10x. It's worth $6 trillion then. But at that point, we're done. Like, it's not got legs in it like everyone thinks, because if it did and repeated what it's done, it would be worth more than all of the assets in the world combined total, and that's not going to happen.
The other problem with Bitcoin is it's $36,000 a coin. So it's like, even if you throw $100 in it, what is that going to be? It's nothing. If it goes up to from 36,000 to 300,000, you're only going to make what, $800, $1,000 with so, and it's going to take a long time to do that. So it's and a lot of people say like, oh, fiat money's backed by nothing too. The U.S. is backed by nothing. Well, the U.S. has aircraft carriers, F-35 fighter jets, the strongest military in the world, nuclear weapons, 700 military bases around the world. So until Bitcoin has that, I don't know. Like, so
it's a rare thing. It's like basketball cards, right, or sports cards. They're worth something based on what someone's prepared to pay for it the next day, purely based on its rarity, that the fact they're not producing anymore. And you could say the same for land. I mean, they're not producing any more land on Earth. So that is something very similar. But land has an actual functional use. You can farm it, create crop from it, get shelter. There's some elements of,
use
functionality. Yeah, there's use there. But Bitcoin's air.
We said this, Bitcoin's going to go up like 300%.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's going to be like, you idiots, you don't know anything. Look,
the thing is, let's say it goes up 10x. Let's say it goes up 10x, and the Winklevoss twins they're like, yep, and they picked it, right? And the whole market cap of Bitcoin's worth $6 trillion. At that point, realistically, we're done, because gold is probably like, we're done. There's no scalable. There's no more growth after that. The story is over.
Planets. That's how we're measuring value.
Yeah.
It's like, I own a planet. That's how rich I am.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
The other thing is, you can't do shit. What can you do with Bitcoin right now? What can you buy with Bitcoin? Like, I see all these things online. You could buy a Subway sandwich. You can buy it where? Like, I've been to Subway. I don't see them accepting Bitcoin. Like, where can you buy? What can you do with Bitcoin?
So we do have a question. Someone did ask a question regarding Bitcoin. Actually, John Esteem is asking, if I purchased one Bitcoin, would it be a good investment? I think I can pretty much speak for everybody here and say,
it's
no,
speculative,
it's a speculation. Put it into something a bit more valuable.
Thank you. Listen.
Bring on Dalt here.
Dalt, what's up?
I mean, bro? It depends. It depends. One Bitcoin, so what's that? 30,000. If your portfolio is over $1 million, it's nothing for you, right? Seriously, it's nothing. It's less than 10% of whatever you have. And if you want to speculate, sure. When I sunk roughly $1,000 into Ether, that was worth next to nothing of my portfolio. Now, if you combine my portfolio and that Ether balance accounts for roughly 20% of my entire portfolio. But at the time when I put it on, it was nothing, so it was okay to pass under. If you only have $30,000 or whatever Bitcoin is sitting at in US dollars, if you only have that amount, it doesn't make any sense to put it all into Bitcoin. That doesn't make sense to me. And just to chip in with what the guys were saying here about paying for stuff with Bitcoin, again, the only people that I've been following Bitcoin, watching it since 2011, and I've been invested in the cryptocurrency market since 2017. And I can tell you that the only people that think that you can pay for stuff with Bitcoin are people that have never tried to move a Bitcoin. Because once you do, you realize once you have $100 worth of Bitcoin and you try to move it and it costs you $20 to move it, you just wasted 20% of everything you had to pay for something. You will not do that. So again, you have to actually use the things and understand how these things work before you can actually go and move stuff. And if you want to pay for stuff with Ether, like, until Ethereum goes to 2.0 and they go to proof of stake instead of proof of work, Ether transactions could be anywhere from $50, $100 to $1,000. So nobody is going to move anything and pay for anything with that, because you will lose almost everything that you have. And that's kind of what drove the major price increases in Ether, is that gas fees became so high, people needed to buy ever more Ether to add to their wallets in order to move it to an exchange if they had it off the exchange, or if they wanted to transfer it to someone else. They had to increase that
Like a
balance, pay
reverse
huge
fee.
gas fees. Everybody was buying in. And that's the problem. That's why these things are not ever going to be currencies, because it just costs too much. Like, you can fix Ethereum, Bitcoin is well on its way. There's nothing to be fixed. The parts of it that are fixed are called Bitcoin Cash, with much lower transaction fees, and it's much faster for confirming transactions. But nobody wants that because it's the one that makes the most sense, and the people that are investing aren't doing any research at all. I'm sorry, I just have to say that.
No,
They're not doing the research
yeah.
that they need to be doing to understand which cryptocurrencies have the most ability to be used as actual real currency.
You know what you're
Bitcoin
gonna
and
do with
Ether right
crypto?
now are not close.
Yeah. You know what you're going to do with crypto? You're going to sell it and convert it into fiat money, and that's what you're going to do, because it doesn't make sense to do anything else. Even putting it in a wallet, there's fees for that sometimes. So I don't know. It's like, even just buying it and selling it, there's fees. Like, if you use Coinbase, you could. I mean, I use Coinbase, and the fees can be pretty hefty to just buy it, and then when you sell it, you have a fee. So, and full disclosure, I do own some Bitcoin. I jumped on the train like 6-7 months ago when it
You
was.
heathen. You
Yeah.
heathen. You turncoat.
Yeah. And I'm kind of
Turncoat.
really
Oh, that hurts.
that's why I'm upset at Elon Musk, and I wanted to talk about Anonymous because I doubled my money and I should have sold it, but I kept it.
You
Now
got
it's
greedy.
back.
You know-
got the greedy.
It's a trap, though. You can't win that. You can't win that dance. That dance that you're talking about, Tony, is the one that until you experience it, because it's all really easy. You think people, I'm just going to sell when it's high. No, you don't. You hold on to it when it's high, and then you keep it when it's low too. And it's a never-ending cycle that you can't get out of. And even if you win that, you want more of it. It's like a vampire that gets blood for the first. Give me more blood. So they get addicted. And then
That's what's happening with AMC. Yeah.
Totally,
And people are playing dangerous games with these hedge funds, thinking that they're outsmarting hedge funds. The hedge funds are not stupid. They're going to adapt their strategies. They're putting in call options. They're making
They
money.
have supercomputers doing this stuff.
Yeah.
They can outsmart us all. We are coming to an end, so we're going to start wrapping up. Tony, let them know where they can find you, how they can listen to your docile tones on another podcast, and learn how to be a proper investor, a different type of investor.
Stock Bros podcast. I'll put the link in there, and obviously you can find me on this this wonderful Facebook group. You can find all of us on there. So.
Yes, that's right. All right, we're gonna remove you and go to Dalt. Dalt, where can we find you? How can we read more about your strategies and that?
As always, I'm always posting on the blog, so thebantingcourtcapital.com/blog. I posted my latest article that I wrote today in the group about how to use my trading algorithm and how to apply what you're seeing to trading options and making stock purchases in the market. And of course, I'm also on Instagram at RismayLife, RismayLife, and I do lots of investing content throughout the week and live videos every Saturday. So check me out there.
Excellent. And of course, the money millionaire mentor himself, Lloyd Ross. Where can we listen to your docile tones and learn more about you?
You can go to, you can hit me up on Instagram. It's at Lloyd James Ross. And the podcast, Money Grows on Trees, is the podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Money Grows on Trees. So, yeah, download, subscribe, leave us a review.
There we go. Awesome. And I am, of course, Phil Better, the podcast mogul himself. This is Stock Dirty to Us. Stock Dirty to Me, sorry. A podcast for people learning about investing in the real time, starting out. We want to thank you so much for watching and being a subscriber, and wish you all a great day.